So let us continue the discussion on the topic house property. Concepts of house property are over, and now we will start discussing numericals. But before discussing numerical, just one point was left, and that is what happens when the assessee opts for optional taxation scheme under section 115 BAC. As you know that whenever any assessee opts to pay tax under section 115 BAC, some benefits are denied to that assessee. In salary also we have seen the cases where some benefits were denied in case the assessee opted for optional taxation scheme under section 115 BAC. In house property also, one main benefit is denied to that assessee who has opted to pay tax under optional taxation scheme as per section 115 BAC. So let me discuss my screen. Let me show you my screen and let me discuss that point. Which benefit will be denied in case the assessee opts to pay tax under optional taxation scheme? I hope the screen is visible now. I hope the screen is visible. In case it is not visible, you inform. Otherwise, I am assuming that you can see the screen. So, last point, and then we will discuss some full-fledged questions on the topic house property. And now, very soon we will be having regular extra classes because the coming 20 to 25 days are crucial. I will try to wind up the course by having regular extra classes. So your next 20 to 25 days will be consuming your time and mostly on this topic, income tax. So you have to manage your time in such a way that you are in a position to give more time on income tax in the coming next 3 to 4 weeks. So still house property is going on, and just one point. In the last class, I discussed 4 miscellaneous points. Now it is my 5th miscellaneous point. What benefits are not available? What benefits are not available to an assessee who has opted to pay tax under optional taxation scheme? As per section 115 BAC. What benefits are not available? There is only one benefit which is not available. Otherwise, the rest of the benefits will continue to be available to an assessee who has opted to pay tax under optional taxation scheme. Which is the benefit which is not available is, what is section 24 clause B? Can you tell me what is section 24 clause B? Do you remember what is section 24 clause B?
Sir, interest on capital borrowed.
Very good. It is interest on capital borrowed. Now, calculation we have done for different situations when date of repayment is before or date of repayment is after, etc., etc. Now, I can be having 3 different properties: let out, and what is another property which I can be having?
Self-occupied.
No, deemed to be let out. And third is, I should not write the word self-occupied. I should write what? Can you tell me logically what I should write? Rather than self-occupied, what word I should use or what sentence I should use? Any answer? This is one of the type let out. This is another type let out. And what is third type? Can you tell me what is third type? Any answer? it will tell you the conceptual clarity which you have. In house property, maximum there can be 3 different types of properties. Let out is one type, deemed to be let out is another type, and what is third type of property? I should not write the word self-occupied. I should write a different sentence. Can you tell me that? The third category is house or houses whose annual value is nil as per section. Can you tell me as per which section? Which subsection? Which subsection? 23 subsection 2. This is the third category. And in this category, self-occupied is only a part of this category. Otherwise, the property which is not self-occupied but could not be occupied because of employment, profession, etc., that is also covered under this main category. So do remember, don't say that there are 3 categories of properties under house property. And if you say there are 3 categories, then the category name is what? One let out, another one deemed to be let out, and third one, don't say self-occupied, you say house whose annual value is nil as per section 23(2). Within this, self-occupied is one of the category. That's it. Is this clarity now clear in your mind? If you are 100% clear in this conceptual knowledge, then raise your hands. Never say self-occupied separately. Self-occupied is a part of the main category under which I say that houses whose annual value is nil as per section 23 subsection 2. Very good. Now, so you give me the answer. When the house is let out, can you tell me how much maximum interest is allowed as deduction? When the house is let out, can you tell me what is the maximum interest on capital borrowed allowed as deduction?
No limits.
No limit. Very good. No limit. Even if it is 2 crore rupees allowed, no limit. Can you tell me if it is deemed to be let out, how much is the maximum interest on capital borrowed allowed to me as deduction?
Sir, no limits.
No limit. Very good. But in this category, it might be a self-occupied house, or it might be a house which is not occupied because my employment, job or profession is situated at some other place, and at that other place I am living in rented accommodation. In this category, there is a limit. And what is that limit? What is that limit? It can be maximum 2 lakh, or it can be maximum 30,000 depending upon different cases. Now, what is the benefit which is denied in case you have opted to pay tax under optional taxation scheme? You cannot claim this benefit. In case you have opted to pay tax under optional taxation scheme, then this benefit is not available to you. People who have opted to pay tax under section 115 BAC, they cannot ask for deduction of interest on capital borrowed. They cannot ask this deduction in respect of which properties? The properties whose annual value is nil. In case the property is let out and the person is opting to pay tax under optional taxation scheme, no issue, interest is allowed. In case the property is deemed to be let out and still the person has opted to pay tax under optional taxation scheme under section 115 BAC, no issue, this is allowed. But in case it is either a self-occupied property or a property which couldn't be occupied because the employment, business or profession is situated at some other place, and at that other place I am living in rented accommodation, then also you cannot deduct interest on capital borrowed. That's it. With this, theoretically the chapter is over. Any issue, please ask, otherwise raise your hands if this point is also clear. Now we are starting with a full-fledged question. Hurry up, raise your hands if the point is clear. Let me discuss with you one case. Okay, now let us see from my book, problem number 7, page 5.23. Problem number 7, page 5.23, concept building approach, written by me, and let us discuss this problem. So let me share, you can have the screenshot also of this question from the book, and if you have the book, then you can directly go to this page. Take this screenshot. This is a half question. Remaining question is on the next page. First, to take the screenshot of problem number 7. If you have taken this screenshot, please raise your hands. If you have taken this page as screenshot, or if you have this question, please raise your hands. Others, I think those whose hand is not raised, please raise your hands if you have this case with you, whether in the form of book or a screenshot. Next page. This is the remaining question. Take the screenshot of this portion till solution. Then I will start reading this question for you. If you have taken this screenshot also, or if you have this available with you, please raise your hands so that I can move forward and discuss this case with you. You have to apply your conceptual knowledge. Never be afraid of any numerical question. There can be crores of numerical questions, but if your theoretical concept is strong, any value can come anywhere. Answer will not be wrong in that case if your conceptual knowledge is strong. Please raise your hands if you have taken the screenshot. Okay, so let me start discussing this case. In case you have not taken it, you can please interrupt me. Otherwise, I am assuming you have taken the screenshot. So let us start discussing problem number 7. Mrs. R, I hope the screen is visible. I hope the question is visible. Mrs. R, age 50 years, owns 2 houses. Ownership. Every single word in the law is having relevance. So one thing is sure that assessee is the owner and she is having 2 houses. The details of the 2 houses for the financial year 2021 are as follows. Municipal value, house 1, house 2, fair rent, standard rent, annual rent. In house 1 there is no annual rent because it is self-occupied. But in house 2 there is some annual rent. Vacancy period in house 1, vacancy period of course logically doesn't arise because it is self-occupied. House 2 vacancy 2 months. Taxes paid 2021 20,000, 60,000. She raised a loan of 15 lakh from SBI at 15% per annum on 1st June 16 for the construction of house 1, which is self-occupied. The construction of the house was completed on 1st Jan 2020. Date of repayment of loan is 1st October 2020. If you remember these 2 lines, I have discussed the same example when I was showing you the calculation of interest on capital borrowed. This was the same example which I discussed with you around 1 or 2 days ago, where the loan outstanding was 15 lakh, rate was 15%, date of borrowing was 1st June 16, construction of the house was completed on 1st Jan 20, and date of repayment of loan is 1st October 20. I have discussed with you the same example 1 or 2 days ago. Do you remember? If yes, please tell me the total interest on capital borrowed which I got for the financial year 2021 in this example. If you remember this example, please check your copies and tell me what interest on capital borrowed, how much interest on capital borrowed I got for the previous year 2021 in this example. Any answer? What interest you got?
The 2,40,000.
Yes. If you remember that the total interest which I got in this example was 2,40,000, please raise your hands. If you remember this. This was my first example of interest on capital borrowed, same example. If you remember that in this example, the interest on capital borrowed for the previous year 2021 was 2,40,000. Please raise your hands. हाथों को उठाइए so that I get to know that you know the answer. Okay, so 2,40,000 was the answer. So I will not discuss the calculation of interest on capital borrowed in this case because I've already discussed these two lines calculation in detail in my previous to previous video. Rest, half of the municipal tax in respect of let out house, that is house 2, has been paid by tenant. So only in respect of house 2, my half of the municipal taxes was paid by the tenant. By default, it means that otherwise the house tax has been paid by the owner. This is what the normal interpretation of this line. If it is written in such a way that half of the tax of house 2 has been paid by tenant, by default, it is telling me that remaining house taxes were paid by owner. During the previous year, 2021, Mrs. X was employed in X Limited at a monthly salary of 50,000. So this is a question where salary head will also come. In the final exam or in real life, you get those cases of assessors where your assessor doesn't have only one income, they are having different income. Same is the case here. This person is having basic salary 50,000. Company paid 2,000 as professional tax on her behalf. It is a perquisite. Compute the total income and tax liability of Mrs. R for the assessment year 21-22, assuming that she also has the income from other sources of 9,10,000 during the previous year 2021. Computation of total income and tax liability is to be done for the following two situations. Now, situation A, if Mrs. R has not opted for optional taxation scheme under section 115 BSE, and if Mrs. R has opted for optional taxation scheme under section 115 BSE. Now, do remember one thing, this question can be used for personal tax planning also. This is how the planning will come. Examiner can give a question and examiner can ask which option is better. Is it better or is it good for Mrs. X to opt for optional taxation scheme, or it is not good for Mrs. X or R whatever to opt for optional taxation scheme or not to opt. So we can be having tax planning questions also on the similar lines. I hope the question is clear, and now let me start solving this question. Let us start solving it. So always see what the question is asking. Never start preparing working note first. You will lose marks. Question says that examiner is interested or your assessee is interested in computing total income and tax liability in different situations. So let us solve situation A first. If she has not opted for optional taxation scheme. So this is my situation A. If Mrs. R has not opted for optional taxation scheme. So I'm leaving this page blank because I told you that working note should not come first. I'm leaving this page blank, or around 10 lines you can leave blank. So gradually you will get an idea that how many lines are required to be left. Like in this, we have salary. So directly in working note, I will compute salary and I will simply write in the fair note income under the head salary. House property I will compute in working note. Other sources directly I have deductions. Deductions, I think I am having one deduction also. So I will get the answer. So I'm leaving this page blank. And for the same, then so here also, here itself I will compute total income as well as tax liability. So this is what the presentation the way of presentation. Computation of total income of Mrs. X, sorry, Mrs. R for the assessment year. You should use full word assessment and then Y year. Don't write AY. I'm writing just because of the purpose of saving time. So I'm leaving it blank. Always make a habit to present the questions beautifully. It leaves good impression on the mind on any other person who is reading your book, copy or whatever, any project. Here itself I will compute tax liability also. Computation of tax liability of Mrs. R for the assessment year 2021-22. I hope we are getting the idea of presentation. Then I'm leaving this page blank. So I will start on the next page, situation 2. I will show you the slides again if you want. I might be writing a little bit fast. I might be, I'm not sure. If Mrs. R has opted to pay tax, under optional taxation scheme. So I'm showing what the examiner was asking. First, those things must be shown, so you have to leave this space blank. In the section 115 BS. Computation of, always present the question beautifully and completely. Total income of Mrs. R for the assessment year 2021-22. Don't write short form in the exam. I am writing, but you please don't write. Particulars. Then computation of tax payable. What the question was asking? Tax liability. I have told you that tax liability is different from tax payable. Tax liability is the tax which I was supposed to pay. When you deduct TDS from that, advance taxes from that, then the balance is tax payable or tax refundable. So tax liability of Mrs. R for the assessment year. Don't write short form. The moment I will write short form, I will inform that you that please don't write. I will also leave this space blank and then I will start note 1. So what is my note 1? First I will compute income from salary. So computation of salary income. Now this is working note. So here I am not supposed to write salary income of Mrs. R for the assessment because these are working notes. In FAIR I have written the full sentence. Now I can simply write computation of salary income. This is allowed now. Or computation of income under the head salary, that is allowed. Now let us start computing salary. Now you should also try to tell me what I should write here. First of all, basic salary. Can you tell me how much is basic salary? 6 lakh. 50,000 into 12. Then what other income under the head salary I have? Company has paid 2,000 as professional tax on her behalf. Can you tell me what is this? What I should write? Where I should write? What is this? It's a perquisite. And what is the name of this perquisite? The broad heading is employee's obligation, because professional tax payment is my obligation, not the company's. It is a perquisite of employee's obligation met by employer. I was supposed to pay the tax to the state government, but my employer has paid. So it is 2000. No other thing is there. It becomes gross salary. 6 lakh 2. Minus what I will deduct. Can you tell me what I will deduct? Hurry up. Any answer? Deduction under section 16. First is standard deduction, flat 50,000 rupees. And do you know one more deduction? Professional tax paid. That is also allowed as deduction. 2,000 rupees. This is income under the head salary. In case you have any problem, you can please ask me. Otherwise, I will assume that you know this. But you need practice to learn the provisions, and there is no shortcut. This has given me the answer of note 1, that I got salary income now. Next, now note 2. To compute house property income, I need to know the value of what? Interest on capital borrowed. So step 2 is computation of interest on capital borrowed. For the purpose of, for what purpose I need to know? For the purpose of deduction under section 24 clause B, while computing income under the NHP. If you remember the same example I have shown you when I was discussing this interest, that was the example, if you remember. This was the example. Example was this one. I'm showing the previous slides. This was the example which I discussed initially. On which date I discussed it? I discussed it on 26th October. On 26th October, I discussed the same example. If you remember, this is the example. Loan was 15 lakh, interest 15%. Borrowing date is this, completion date is this, repayment date is this, and I got the answer as for the year. You can see this answer. For the year 2021, I got the answer 2,50,000. So I'm not showing the calculation again, that you can check yourself. $2,40,000 is the interest which I got. So I got the answer directly. I'm writing here, but in the exam you have to show the full working. But I'm writing 2,40,000 is the interest. Third working note is what? Is 2,40,000 allowed? Answer is no, because my house for which I took the loan is house 1, which is self-occupied. So maximum 2 lakh is allowed or 30,000 is allowed. But in this case, capital was borrowed on or after 1st April 1999 for the purpose of construction, and the construction is completed within 5 years from the end of the year in which capital is borrowed. So I can deduct maximum 2 lakh rupees. So 240 is not allowed, but interest which is allowed is 2 lakh. This also I have discussed earlier. So I'm moving now directly. When I have computed the interest, now I can compute house property income. Computation of income from house property. So there are two house properties here. So house 1 and house 2. Particulars. Now house 1 is what? As it is written, it is self-occupied. And house 2 is what? Annual rent is given, so that means it is actually let out. So how do we compute? Always we start from step 1, expected rent. So for the time being, let us compute, always compute let out income. Because in self-occupied, directly the annual value answer is nil. So there is no step 1 in step self-occupied. So I'm computing, always compute for let out first. What is expected rent for house 2? Municipal value 2 lakh, fair rent 2 lakh 20. So 2 lakh or 2 lakh 20, which is higher? 220. 220 or 2 lakh 30, standard rent, which is lower? 220. Step 1 is 2 lakh 20,000. Any problem you can ask me. Otherwise, what I am writing, you can compare. In case your answer is coming different, please unmute and ask me the question. Actual rent received or receivable. We start from annual rent. What is my annual rent? As given for house 2, my annual rent is 2,07,600. And it is mentioned just below 2,07,300, vacancy period 2 months. But always we deduct what? Unrealized rent, which is not given in the question. I repeat, I disagree with the government of India in this case, and that is why I will deduct unrealized rent here. Less vacancy loss. In case you disagree with me, you please discuss and give me the clarification or satisfy my viewpoint. Loss due to vacancy. Now vacancy is 2 months, so I can easily compute the loss due to vacancy. Can you tell me how I will compute the loss due to vacancy? Anyone who can tell me how the loss due to vacancy will be computed in rupee terms? 2,7,600 is the annual rent. 2,07,600 is the annual rent. You divide it by 12 and multiply it by 2. You get 2-month loss. 2,07,600 divided by 12 into 2, that will be 34,600. And this is actual rent received oblique receivable. How much? It is 1,73,000. Now, can anyone tell me how the annual value before deduction is calculated? Can you tell me what is the answer of annual value before deduction of tax in house 2? Anyone who can tell me the answer? How I will write? Step 3. What is step 3? First point, if actual rent is more than expected rent, then actual rent is the annual value before deduction of local tax. It is not there because actual rent is less than expected rent. So I have another point also. Is this actual rent less than expected rent only because of vacancy? If yes, then also actual rent is the answer of annual value before deduction of local tax, but it is not the case because even if there is no vacancy, still my actual rent would have been 2,07,600. Still it would have been less than 220. Now my third case, within step 3, is actual rent less than expected rent not only because of vacancy but because of other reason? Answer is yes. Even if there is no vacancy, still it is less than 2,20,000. If this is the case, then expected rent is the answer here. Since actual rent received or receivable is less than, don't write short form or these abbreviations or these symbols in the exam. Write completely. Since actual rent received or receivable is less than expected rent, not only because of vacancy, but because of other factors also. Expected rent is the annual value before deduction of local tax. Before deduction of Remember, I do not use the word gross annual value and net annual value because these words are creating confusion. These are not written in the act. So whatever is gross annual value in some other material, in my book you will find it as annual value before deduction of local tax. And what is net annual value in some another material, in my book it is annual value, as per the language of the act I have given of local taxes. So what is this annual value in my example before deduction of local tax? It is 2,20,000. After this, what you deduct? Local taxes. So then you deduct local taxes. As I told you, what is the condition of deducting local taxes? These are deductible only when the owner has paid it during the previous year. So in respect of house 2, the total annual this local tax paid is municipal tax paid is 60,000. But when we read the question, we found that 50% of 60,000 is paid by the tenant. So you cannot deduct 50%, but remaining 50% is paid by the owner, you deduct it. And as far as this self-occupied house is concerned, we know that we do not deduct it. We don't use it. These are blank. So in self-occupied, don't write anything in this column, expected rent, annual rent, nothing to be written. Just apply dash in annual value before deduction of local tax, apply dash in local tax. Now I got the answer of annual value in respect of both the houses. For self-occupied, it is nil. Now I should write nil because section 23 subsection 2 says annual value of self-occupied house is nil. So I will not write dash now, I will write nil. And it becomes 1,90,000. Till this point, if the question is clear, please raise your hand so that I get an idea that you are at par with me. You are learning with me. Please raise your hand if this question is clear and presentation is clear till this point. Okay, so most of you are with me, and after this what happens? Let us continue this. Still fourth is still going on. So I'm moving to the next page. Still my note 4 is going on. Still this house 1 is going on, house 2. What I got on the last page, I'm simply writing it. Annual value I got for house 1 nil and for house 2 1,90,000. After this what happens? Less deduction under section 80, sorry, not 80, under section 24. First is standard deduction, which is flat 30% of annual value. So 30% of nil is nil and 30% of 190 is 57,000. Interest on capital borrowed. Now for house 1, the capital borrowed is allowed is 2 lakh, and for house 2 I didn't take a loan, nil. This is my income from HP. Minus 2 lakh and 190 minus 57. But this is not the final income of HP. It is the income from house 1 and house 2. It is not the final head income, because when you write head income under the head house property, you cannot write house 1, house 2 separately. You have to merge it. So my question is, in note 5 I can say, or within here I can say, can you tell me the income from HP, final income from HP is how much? Can you tell me how much is income from HP? Can I club these? Can I join this? That one house gives me 2 lakh plus rupees 1,30,000. Can I join it? And can I say that? Can I say that income is? Can I say that income under the head house property is minus rupees 67,000? Can I use this word? Can I say this, that income is minus 67,000? Can I say this? If yes, please raise your hands. Those who believe that I can say this, they can raise the hands. Can I say that my income from house property is minus 67 because I have merged house 1 and house 2? Those who have raised the hands, those who says that, those who think that yes, I can say this, can you tell me why? Can you tell me the reason that why I can say this? It is correct, but I need the answer why.
Sir, because income from the negative income from other heads can be set off from income. I mean, the negative income from the head house property can be set off against the other heads like salaries and income from other sources, given that some incomes are not allowed to be set off.
But I have not applied this provision which you are saying. You are saying that in negative income from house property head can be set off against positive income of other heads. I'm not setting the income under different heads. It is still within the head house property. What you are saying is that I can go to other heads. I'm not going to any other head. I am still within, I'm still revolving within the same head. Is the point clear? What you told me is not the explanation of this 67,000. Is it clear, Sanjay?
Yes, sir.
So, any answer that can I do this? Yes, I can do this, but I need the answer. I need the reason. On what basis you say that house property negative of one house can be adjusted against positive of another house? How can you decide it? Is it come without any condition or what? Anyone who can tell me this? You are simply doing plus minus, but it is not allowed under Income Tax Act. You need to learn the provisions. So when I say that it is minus 67, do you know one concept I applied, which I have not told you? I applied a concept of set off or carry forward and set off of losses. I applied the concept of this topic. I'm not doing plus minus. In fact, I thought about this topic and then I decided that I can do this. What do I mean by set off? That one, if somewhere we have negative, can we adjust it against other positive? Can we? I'm asking question can. So you need to learn the provision. And what is carry forward and set off? That if you don't have sufficient profit, you carry it forward to the next year. And in next year, you set off this minus with positive. So this is same sentence, carry forward and set off. First you carry forward and then set off. And this is same concept that it is not any carry forward, it is directly set off. So technically I applied a concept and that is known as, detailed I will tell you in that topic, it is intra-head adjustment. It is intra-head adjustment. Intra-head means it is same head, within same head. So there is a rule of within same head, that negative income from 1 HP, from HP1 can be adjusted. In the exam you have to write this reason, negative income from HP1 or any one house can be adjusted against positive income of other houses, house 2. This concept I applied logically. What Sanchit was telling me, interhead. I have not applied that interhead. I am still revolving within the same head. So I am saying that, why I am saying that it is minus 60 because of this rule. In the exam you have to write it, but right now you don't know the provision. So I am writing it directly for you. Negative income from one house can be adjusted against the positive income of other house. With this I can give the reason 67,000. Now with this all the working notes are over and let us start winding up the question. Full-fledged question, let us start winding. So suppose I have not opted. If you have not opted, there is no problem. In case you are not opting, then there is no problem. Directly you can, without looking for or without checking what benefits are allowed or not, directly you can compute the answer. Now what is my income from HP? So my first at income from salary. Can you tell me my salary income? I got 5,50,000. Next, what is my income from HP? Can you tell me my HP income? Minus 67. There is no PGBP, there is no capital gain, but there is income from other sources. It is 9,10,000. It is my gross total income. How much is gross total income? Hurry up, tell me this. Tell me this value. How much is this?
Sir, 1393.
So here also you applied one concept. Do you know which concept you applied? Do you know which concept you applied? You are applying one concept here also. Note 5. Which concept you applied? You adjusted negative income from one head against the positive income of other heads. You might have adjusted it against salary, or you might have adjusted it against other sources. But it's not so easy. You must know the provisions of which topic. It is note 5. You must know the topics of which topic? Set off and carry forward of losses. So in the previous discussion, I applied, or I said that it is intra-head adjustment. And now I am adjusting it as what Sanchit was explaining. It is inter-head adjustment now. So it's not so easy. You have to learn the rules. And which rule I applied here? That negative income under the head HP can be adjusted against positive income of other heads. Except what? Do you know except what? Except what? Gambling incomes. Except gambling, lottery, etc. All those incomes which are taxed under section 115BB at a flat rate of 30%. You cannot adjust this negative income against such incomes. Otherwise, negative income from HP can be adjusted against any head, and this is what exactly I have done. What I have done is I adjusted the negative income of 60. You can say that I am adjusting against salary, or you can say that I am adjusting it against other sources. Doesn't matter, because for both, with both the positive incomes, it is allowed. So this concept I applied. Less what? Deductions under section 80C. 80C. Can you tell me how much is 80C now? Anyone who can give me the answer? How much is 80C? Anyone who can tell me how much is 80C? Repayment of housing loan taken from bank. Now you have to practice income tax. Next 3 to 4 weeks are very crucial. You have to give a huge time for income tax practice. Repayment of housing loan taken from a bank. Do you remember that in my year you are doing some repayment also? How much amount you have repaid to the bank? In the question it was mentioned date of repayment of loan is 1st October 20. 1st October 20 means previous year 2021. So I have repaid entire 15 lakh. It is allowed as deduction. But what is the maximum limit of 80C? Do you remember what is the maximum limit of 80C?
Sir, 1 lakh.
So 1,50,000.
Very good. It is 1,50,000. But do remember that to get deduction of 80C, what you must repay? If it is loan, then it is only principal repayment. And you must have taken it from bank or from financial institution, etc. From the book, you can read it. I have written it in detail. But when it comes to section 24 clause B, where you are allowed deduction of interest, then you could have taken the loan even from a relative. That is also allowed. If you have taken the loan from a relative for housing loan and you are giving the interest, that is also allowed as deduction. There is no problem. But for 80C, if you have taken the loan from a relative and you are repaying the principal, you cannot claim 80C as principal repayment. To claim 80C, loan must be from bank or financial institutions. And for 24B, Act doesn't specifically talk about that your loan must have been taken from bank or financial institution. So for interest, loan can be taken from anyone and you will get the benefit as per the provisions. But for 80C, if you want to get the benefit of repayment of housing loan, principal repayment of housing loan, if you have taken the loan from a relative, don't ask for it. So you will not get it. That's it. I hope the point is clear. If not, you can ask me the doubt. Otherwise, this is my total income. Hurry up. Tell me the answer of total income. The value is around 12,43,000. Very good. 1243. Now, can you tell me the tax on 1243? Now, assess's age is 50 years. So, up to 2,50,000 nil, 2,50,000 to 5 lakh 5%, 5 lakh to 10 lakh 20%, above 10 lakh 30%. With this, tax on rupees 1243 comes out to be up to 250 nil, 250 to 5 lakh 5%, 250 to 5, 12,500, 5 to 10 to 5 into 28, 112,500, 112,500 plus 30% of income, which is exceeding 10 lakh rupees. Hurry up, do the calculation, and when you do the calculation, it comes out to be 185,400. From this, you give what? Rebate under Section 87A. How much will be the rebate under Section 87A? Nil. Why? Because says at the rate of it is 192,816. But as I told you, income and tax has to be rounded off. So final tax which is payable, this is tax liability, because there is no prepaid tax. This liability means you have to pay, but it has to be rounded off to the nearest multiple of 10. So when you round it off to the nearest multiple of 10, it comes out to be 192,820. Any problem in this? Oh, I sold it in situation B. Okay, you make one change. It is situation A when assessee has not opted. Okay, by mistake I have shown different heading. Just read this heading as if Mrs. R has not opted, and I will make this heading as if Mrs. R has opted. I will make it as situation B, otherwise everything is same. Now please raise your hand if this situation A is clear. Hurry up, please. Hurry up. If situation A is clear, please raise your hands. Any problem you can ask me without any hesitation. Just whether others have understood and you have not understood, don't assume that you are wrong. If you think that everyone has understood but not you, still you should ask the questions without any hesitation. Now next. Now what happens if he has opted? If she has opted, how much will be income under the head salary if she has opted? How much will be income under the head salary? Now, if she has opted for optional taxation scheme, you must not forget that some benefits are not allowed. Like deduction of 50 is not allowed. No deduction of section 16 is allowed. So my salary income would be treated as 6,02,000. In case I opted, it will be 6,02,000. Similarly, income under the head house property. Don't write these commas or short forms, write full form in the exam. If it is house property, do remember that what is not allowed. For self-occupied, I cannot deduct any interest. So there will be nil income of house one. Only 133 is flat taxable. This is the loss when I opt for optional taxation scheme. Income from other sources is easy, directly given 9,10,000. Total GTI becomes 16,45,000. And can you tell me how much will be ATC? How much will be ATC? Nil, because for optional taxation scheme, if you are availing, don't ask for any deduction of 80 except 80 CCD subsection 2. So I will write nil. This is total income. And how much is the tax for optional taxation scheme. If you remember, 0 to 2,50,000 nil, 2,50,000 to 5%, 5 to 750, 10%, 750 to 10, 15%, 10 to 12.5, 20%, 12.5 to 15 lakh, 25%, and above 15 lakh, 30%, above 15 lakh, 30%. So it is above 15. So till this point, if you have done the calculation, you will find it as how much? You can do the calculation, you'll find that tax on rupees 16 lakh 45. So till 15 lakh, tax at these rates will come out to be 187,500. You can check it, plus 30% of income exceeding 15 lakh. So this gives you 231. How much will be rebate under 87A? Under optional taxation also you can claim the rebate, but I will not get it because total income exceeds 5 lakh. It's not that it is optional taxation and then that is why I'm not getting the rebate. No, I'm not getting it because income exceeds 5 lakh. Add health and education cess at the rate of 4% and it comes out to be 9240, and this is what the tax payable 240,240. You can call it as tax liability, and because after liability, since there is no prepaid taxes, I will write it as tax payable. This is what the full-fledged question is. That's it. Any problem, please ask. Otherwise, you raise your hands. If you think that the chapter is easy, you only learn. You need to learn the provisions. Yes, Sanjay, you were saying something.
Sir, why have we not deducted the deduction under section 24B in the income under head house property?
Because whenever the assessee opts for optional taxation scheme, I told you in this lecture itself, whenever the assessee opts for optional taxation scheme, in respect of those properties whose annual value is nil under section 23(2), interest is not allowed to be deducted. You can deduct this interest even under optional taxation scheme for let out and deemed to be let out properties, not for this self-occupied house or that house which you couldn't occupy because your job etc. is situated at some other place.
Sir, so could we have claimed the deduction for the house property too because it was let out?
So we were claiming it, aren't we claiming it? नहीं ये लोन तो लिया ही नहीं हाउस टू के लिए थोड़ी ना लिया लोन. We have taken this loan for house 1. How can we claim it for house 2?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Mansi, you were asking something, I think, or not?
No, sir.
Okay. Please raise your hands if this question is clear. Very good, but you need to practice. This is what this income tax is all about. You just need to practice. It's very interesting subject and a subject which is having real importance, practical relevance also. Because everyone needs to be having some knowledge of tax, and everyone somewhere or at some point of time in his or her life needs to be dealing with the provisions of income tax act. So if you are having good knowledge, then it is beneficial. But you must not only try to solve the questions on numerical. Machines can easily do the calculations. You need to develop your analytical skills. You need to think that why this provision is there, why not we need to change it. In Act also, there might be some provisions which are redundant. In Act also, there might be some provisions which need total change. So we can also raise the question, and we should also ask a question to ourselves, whether this provision is beneficial for the government or for the assessee, or this provision is of no use. So you should develop this habit of thinking Just not try to be a person who is just doing the calculations. Machines will easily take over these people who do not apply the mind in thinking that what issues are there, because machines will not think in such a way. You need a human being to think in this direction. Machines can do the calculation, so don't spend your time in just solving so many numerical questions from different books. Just spend your time in becoming a person who is having good knowledge of that particular section or that particular provision. Then let any numerical come. Okay, so with this, let us end the discussion. Goodbye.